people. I do have the new acting MD of Delight Solar, Uganda Limited, that is Mr. Gavala Douglas. And we want to talk about the fact that Ugandans are embracing solar energy. Yes, there's been an increase from 2017 when it was at 18% all the way through 38%. There's an exponential increase of over 20%. Now, during this increase, there's a funny bit. People are actually shunning grid or hydro power connections. That's what we are getting. The hydropower and grid connections were actually at not 22% in 2017. Now, what are we talking about? We're talking about over 19%. So there's a reduction in grid connections. Why are people embracing solar energy? Well, we would like to hear more from Gavala Douglas and so forth, and also the switch to renewable energy now that people are cutting down trees left, right, and center. How do we make the transition away from kerosene? All of that shall be expounded more by Douglas Gavala. Very good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Romeo.
All right. I would like to know first, what does Delight Solar do? What is your work within this country?
Okay, so Delight Solar is a global leader in solar home system.
Right.
And one of the key things that Delight does is to social impact in terms of renewable energy. So we've been in this business for quite some time. We are in more than 70 countries across the globe. And as we drive this penetration of solar home system in Africa, in Asia, we are seeing a huge change in terms of how consumers perceive our products, and more say in terms of how consumers perceive solar home systems and solar in that length.
So the perception towards solar has actually changed because people had a certain bias that maybe the longevity of the solar equipment is not certain, but all that is now in the past. People are embracing solar energy and all these renewable energy initiatives that are on board. Tell us, why are they embracing solar energy?
So one of the key things is true. Sub-Saharan Africa has been lagged behind in terms of grid penetration.
Right.
But when solar came in particular Delight in around 2007, there's been a lot of sensitization of consumers because you can't drive or sell a product that is not known into the market. So the category was small, it was younger. We are almost looking at a decade now since the category went vigorous in terms of driving this. So the perception of consumers have changed in terms of how do I use solar? Can solar last me 8 hours of lighting? Can I have my televisions watch Romeo discussing about serious issues on television? Can I sit in my rural home in Arua and able to enjoy the same enjoyment that somebody is seeking in Kololo, enjoying the same thing? That has changed, and most of the consumers are now embracing this because we have now innovation of solar home systems that are coming in and looking at in terms of the runtime hours that the consumers are receiving more than 8 hours during the night. They're able to charge during the day and also enjoy during the night. So the same way you'd have enjoyed when you're on the grid. And that perception has now changed, and more consumers are embracing the new solar industry as we speak in Uganda.
You must be excited when you hear that there's been an exponential increase from over 18% to 38%.
Yes, it's a good thing, but I don't want you to. It's a good thing, but again, it's all about also the competition has also grown.
Yes.
It's a good thing also because now the competition has grown. There's competitiveness in the market. There is innovation in the market of solar home system. So it's a good thing because now we don't need to spend much in terms of explaining to the consumer what is solar.
Indeed. And so far you've been able to touch base with over 100 million lives.
Yes.
Yes, that's good news. You've been able to transform all these lives, and you're now targeting 1 billion lives by 2030.
Yes.
So how are you going to be able to do this?
So our target, we closed 100 million lives in 2020. Delight has a strategic roadmap. Remember, it's a social impact kind of organization. We have to change life. We have to make availability. We have to do affordability. We have to change in terms of environmental and health concerns. So we hit 100 million in 2020. We celebrated 100 million lives in 2020. We are looking forward to do 1 billion lives by 2030. Reason being now, through the consumers embracing the new innovation in solar energy, the consumption in solar energy, there are new innovation coming in. You can have a solar energy TV, you can have a solar energy solar home system. So that is a good thing, and we are looking forward by 2030. And looking at the transition of now energy usage in our homes in Uganda, you realize by 2030 we might hit even 1 billion before 2030.
That's amazing news. Yes. Now we've already covered the 100 million. Let's target those people who are not in the fold and give them reasons as to why they should make that switch to solar energy.
Yes.
Why is it important to make that switch to renewable energy, if you will?
Number one, there is what I call health concern. One of the co-founders, Sam Goldman and Nentos, and one of the key things they embraced solar energy was to get away kerosene, whereby kerosene was creating health issues to the families. You know, you're using kerosene, the children are using the kerosene, they cannot study very well. So you find that that kind of thought process in terms of health concerns is very key. As we speak right now, we've done almost 23 billion carbon dioxide emission from the Earth, which is supporting the initiative that most organizations are putting in terms of health and environmental concern. Number two, we are driving productivity hours. That small girl who would have studied between 6 before the sun sets to 7, they can study until 8, 9 because they have a solar home system that they're going to use from D-Light. So we are driving that productivity of that student who would have studied for only 1 hour. They're doing 2 hours. We're also driving family cohesion. They can watch news together in the evening. You get. So it's something that has, so I look at the health, the family, and also the productivity within the family, which is driving that kind of.
And also agriculture is always affected when we go and cut down trees for charcoal. Yes, they cannot actually predict the weather patterns because 90% of our agriculture is rain-fed. But then, dear farmers, you can make that switch to irrigation if electricity is too expensive. Mr. Gavala and these people are already here to tell you that solar equipment can actually run those irrigation schemes. Am I right?
True. Yeah, you see, the good thing that solar industry, there's a very strong and vigorous innovation. Every day there's innovation. Yeah, and this innovation is even moving beyond now. Even we are moving into development in terms of the agricultural, rural, semi entrepreneurs within the rural area, whereby they have like 1.5 hectares of land. You need to get a small pump, a solar pump. You don't have a grid within your farm. So that's why we are moving toward that as well, so that we can empower the community. The strength comes when you're empowering the community, because that's where the base is. And that's what drives the economy as we speak. And
of course, lesser percentage of the people within the rural settings are not connected to hydro and grid power electricity. They have to depend on solar energy and other renewable energy initiatives. How are you reaching out to them during this COVID-19 pandemic?
So the good thing that, one of the key things that the solar industry and especially D-Light has done is we've partnered with the telcos to make sure that our consumers can pay in terms of pay-as-you-go modality. That you can pay as little until you own the product. So what happens, there's also a vigorous communication that has been happening between consumers. And the good thing that D-Light has done is affordability and availability, whereby we drive affordable products to our consumers. We drive accessibility to our consumers. This means that during COVID time, as much as there's no interaction, there's distance even in the market, you can sit down with your solar home system TV, watch news, find entertainment to do in that regard. And that has driven in terms of family cohesion and also make the consumers feel like they're still, as much as there is COVID, we can still move on and push.
This is what a viewer might not understand. Uganda has a generation capacity of electricity of about 1,167 megawatts, but we have a demand of only 650 plus megawatts, meaning the supply overweighs the demand in that regard. But why are Ugandans still shunning grid electricity? Simply because of its unreliability when it comes to the connections and so forth. So solar energy is the way to go in a bid to clamp down on climate change in that regard. Douglas Gavala, before I let you go, acquaint us with some of the products that you do have at D-Light Solar, so that the viewer could be in the know.
Yeah, so we have a quite range of products. We have I'll use the normal terms, then I explain to the consumer.
Yes.
So we have what we call the X series, the D series, and then the M series, and then we have the portables. The portables are the normal lanterns, the small lanterns that you can, like the hurricane lamp that we used to use in the old days, but that have well innovated into a very nice solar lantern that is portable. It's a cash basis product. And then we have the D series, which is more of an entry product, which have like 3 lighting points, and then it has a radio that the consumers can listen to, and also a touch spotlight torch at night. And then you have the bigger version, which is the X series, which comes with a bigger version of panel, with a bigger version of battery, and also it can support TV. So we are cutting across the whole category to make sure that we support our consumers.
Any parting shots, Mr. Gavala, to the fans of Delight Solar Energy and also the fans of NTV who would like to actually embark on that switch to renewable or solar energy?
So one of the key things I can tell my consumers, there are great things that are coming. Delight Uganda is going to drive solar energy innovation in Uganda.
Indeed.
We are a market leader.
Indeed.
That's a fact. We bride that, and we keep on doing that. And we also want to support our customers in terms of the 24-hour service center. I think it's the only solar home system in Uganda that have a 24-hour, 24/07 call center.
Innovation.
And also in terms of making sure that our consumers can get affordable and accessible products.
The new acting MD for Delight Solar Uganda Limited, Douglas Gavala. Thank you very much, sir, for having made the time to speak to us.
Thank you.
Very, very insightful conversation. Well, of course, if we are to keep the global warming temperatures at 1.0, that is 1.5 degrees Celsius, we need to ensure that we make that switch to renewable energy. That is solar energy, to be exact, so that we stop cutting down trees, so that we stop emitting these carbon emissions and also destabilizing the ozone layer. My name is Romeo Bisik. We do have other conversations within the pipeline. Don't move a muscle. That'll be a detrimental mistake.